All right, traders, here's my video for what we're going to be watching to possibly trade on Friday, September 27th. SPY gapped up today to all-time highs, but then kind of sold off. I'll tell you what, it was a little weird for me today. Lately, my watch lists have been pretty long, right? And I would say that today I spent longer trying to build a list than usual, and my list is shorter than usual. I guess it's just a symptom of the recent action, right? We had the big gap up today. So as a day trader, my least favorite thing to happen, okay, let me rephrase that. As a long biased day trader who doesn't short, my least favorite scenario would be a big gap up for the whole market. It seems to yield very few intraday setups for the most part. But oddly enough, you guys know I like bounce plays, right? But for a bounce play, you need something to be down at least, 3 days in a row, preferably a recent high flyer, pulling back 3 days in a row, but also something that's getting decimated and starting to get downside shape. And you didn't have really either of that. You didn't have any of that. So keep that in mind. Let me slide this over for the new faces in the chat room. Pause the video and read that. It's a great description of what we're all about. It's basically a teamwork scenario where we all work together. A lot of people in chat have taken our course, and so they've studied my A+ setup section that I put together, and there's good 8 maybe A+ setups that we look for, and other things as well now, right? We're adding a lot of things as far as the yellow line play and things like that too. So I do feel like overall on an intraday basis, there's more to look for as we expand our playbook. But as far as daily charts go, I just had trouble putting a good list together today. Having said that, let me start with NNE, which is by far my favorite setup going into tomorrow. This is one of those, I call them baby nuclear plays, right? But this thing had a nice move from here to here, then put it in a lower high, a higher low, and it is, I don't have the lines drawn, but follow my cursor, you can see it is very coiled and pretty low float. So this thing can really squeeze when it moves. So it's by far my favorite setup going into tomorrow. What I would call one of its sister stocks would be OKLO, which is holding up pretty well. It's chopping around a lot, but it's holding up pretty well. So if NNE goes, OKLO might go. Let me go to Redfin. Let me try to type it right. RDFN did bounce off the 20-day today and put in actually a pretty nice looking candle. So maybe a follow through tomorrow. DUO is one of the, I'm pretty sure it's Chinese stock, and there was a ton of them today. The overall, all the Chinese stocks just absolutely gapped up and was a theme for sure. And it dominated my high relative volume scan tonight, right? But I didn't want to load up the list with a bunch of Chinese stocks because they're ADRs and they trade overnight while we're sleeping, and they're just not as tradable. But this one's certainly interesting. Massive 250 million shares, closing way off its highs, but I definitely want to watch it tomorrow. Mobileye is MBLY. Had a nice pop back here. And today it broke that day's high after going sideways for a while. So certainly could have a follow-through day tomorrow. That's MBLY. I'm going to put Lunar, LUNR, back on watch. It's not a great setup, right? You had the gap up here that sold off. Then it ripped. So I was like, wow, bulls are really winning. Now it's pulled back to the 8-day. It's just kind of chopping around. But maybe we get news or any kind of volume spike, we might get a decent setup. BYND, which is Beyond Meat, a lot of shorts in the name, and we've got sideways action for, I don't know, a good month there, right? And it broke out of that today, so it could have a follow-through day tomorrow. ADPT, trying to break out there on volume. That one goes on watch. OSCR is the only bounce play I've got on watch, and it just had a really nice run, and now 5 days in a row into the 20-day. Decent bounce play setup, and again, only if we get an intraday bounce play setup. And then I threw ONCO on watch, which is ugly, but in after hours, as I'm talking to you, is trading at $4.76. So if that's still gapping in the morning, it goes on the gap play list, and hopefully some of you show up in the morning with me to add some gappers to the gapper list. And again, we've got new setups to look for, so let's work together tomorrow and hopefully make some good money. All right, I'm done babbling. We'll see you in chat.